For February the 17th, 2023, we talk about the Dead Space remake, Sping, the Case of the Golden Idol, and much more. Welcome to level 447. My name is Kole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I am David Maismith.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Welcome, one and all. Those of you at home and those of you, well, at home, but specifically on this show right now. We record from our homes. It'd be weird. Yeah.
If you're listening to this on the go.
Like, can we get a ruling on Jala, though, who records from, like, an adjacent shed?
It's still her proper. I mean, I would call that home. That is, I would say yes.
Okay.
Especially because that makes sense to me. But I'm willing to hear dissents. Let's put a minute on the clock.
let's debate that for 3 hours before we start.
Yeah.
What is home? Right in.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. I'm just gonna jump to someone. Hey Ben, what's going on? How are you?
Not much. I am happy to finally have my apartment back to myself. I had 3 people staying over the weekend, so it was a busy weekend.
Yeah,
150 square feet per person. So.
No.
But no, it was nice though. Had visitors from Portland. Had one of my old coworkers in from town. So yeah, it was nice. Went to some new places I hadn't been before in the city and just hung out a whole bunch. So it was cool. We did old person Beerio Kart, not to get into video games too quickly, but
okay.
You finish half a glass of beer per Grand Prix. So it's much toned down version than like the college days.
Yeah.
So, mm-hmm.
No, so Beerio Kart, that's funny because we called it Cario Mart. Yeah. I can't remember the rules because if you remember Cario Mart, can you say you actually played it? Oh my gosh, the most just the drinking, the most ill-advised video game drinking game I ever played was what was it? I can't even remember. It
sounds like a good game.
It was Wii Bowling. And I think it was you had to chug a Bud Ice every time you didn't get a strike.
Oh God.
And so the thing is, I don't think we lasted a whole round. Yeah.
I like the idea of Rock Band John Bonham edition, where it's like you just have to chug 40 beers while you're playing the game.
Yep. Oh, well, that sounds, the personal space issues aside, that sounds like a pleasant weekend.
Yeah, it's fine if it's people you like and get along with, but yeah.
And if you don't.
So how was it for you?
Yeah, I don't know how they dealt with me, but I had a great time. So.
Oh, gosh. David, how about you? What's going on?
Not a whole heck of a lot. Starting to get a little warmer here, so
good.
That's about it. I've only got like boring news, like my sewing machine and serger are in for maintenance.
Oh,
which is that's like my version of like Kole yard news.
Right. Well, is it maintenance to like fix them or maintenance to make them work better?
Work better. Like you should get them serviced about once a year.
Right.
So
nice. Well, hopefully they come back and they make real straight lines if you want them to be. I don't know a lot about sewing machines. I'm not gonna lie to you.
A lot of it's the timing is the big thing because you basically have 2 needles, one from the top, one from the bottom, that have to go in the right order in order to make the stitch correctly. So
Okay.
a lot of it's adjusting the timing and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but some sewing machines will take ballet classes on the side to improve their game.
Yeah, that's
Is
true.
that like a football thing?
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Yes,
Okay.
that was the joke.
Okay. I just there we are. I didn't know about I didn't know specifics. It just sounded right. Sounded like that's what you're gonna do. Dennis, how about you? What's going on?
Man, I mean, you brought up football, so I'm just going to take a second to rage about the game, the Superb Owl that happened.
Yeah, so you were hoping for the Eagles and that play. So
Yeah.
what makes you more angry, the call, like the bad call toward the end, or the abysmal field conditions? I didn't watch the game.
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
on
say the best part of this is I have no idea if Kole is just saying things or.
Well, no,
Yeah, really, it was the 50 wiener dogs that they set loose that caused havoc. I don't understand.
Yeah, and all of those animated beer cans going around. but dry. I've not heard of any of these players.
Yeah, right?
So no, I didn't watch the game, but I have no. I saw what people got mad about on Twitter. What
Yeah.
specifically are you raging about?
What else is Twitter for, right? But to see what people are mad about.
True.
No, it's specifically the call towards the end that kind of handed the game to the Chiefs on a golden platter.
Mm-hmm.
One, because I think it was a bullshit call, and then two, because that's exactly how the Bengals got beat by the Chiefs. So
Okay.
Sigh. But I was talking to a friend this morning and patted him on the shoulder. Was like, "I'll see you around." Oh, sorry, that's pass interference. On my bad.
Right. Jeez.
Yeah. So for the three of our listeners that got that, nice.
I mean, that's the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the video game
that's
people. Yeah.
No, there's overlap. There's dude. If I can know about the Super Bowl, anyone can know about the Super Bowl.
Right. Did you have like an event? Or was it just kind of kicking around with the family?
No, the lowest key Super Bowl
Yeah,
watch.
yeah.
'Cause it was just at home hanging out.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. Other than that, a fun thing. I just apropos of nothing is I've started doing when I let my kids out to the school bus. I'll start like briefing them because they get all excited for school that way. As if they're about to jump out of an airplane.
Nice.
So I'll have them line up and I'm like, all right, we're dropping Mapledale Elementary in 0500 hours. You're going to have to extract all the knowledge that you can find and complete all teacher quests. Do not engage with bullies. Fortify your relationships with any fun kids you can find. Go, go, go. And that seems to work pretty well.
Hey, whatever it
That's
takes.
Pretty good. Yeah, they run screaming out to the bus stop, all excited.
I'm sure the bus driver appreciates that.
Yeah.
Your problem now, bus driver.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Get them all wound up.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. But I gotta get down my spiel. Like I gotta figure out what the parts of it are to hit and everything. But it is a fun way to get the day started.
Nice.
Oh, well, this is fun. So I do background music for it too because they like to listen to like pump you up music.
Okay. Got your kids trained on jock jams?
Well, not quite. So we're coming through the holiday season, right? And I think there's some residual affinity for Christmas songs bouncing around in there. But they also like we just find like random music through like I don't even know. We just look up random stuff, and what we managed to find was like epic classical, and it's like a guy who does like movie soundtrack music, and he did a mashup of the Carol of the Bells and the Imperial March.
See, here, when you started talking about this, I thought you were going to go with, like, Fortunate Son or something.
No. But literally, this is like their jock jam equivalent. This is their. I'll drop a link to it at some point when I can find it online. But it's exactly what it sounds like. It is an epic version of Carol of the Bells mixed up with the Imperial March, and that's what they want every time. So that's what I'm doing. So fatherhood is fun. You get to do stupid shit and get credit for it.
Like I said, whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I don't have anything nearly that exciting. Mostly just getting my garage in order as I've been basically. So last week I talked about that birthday gift I make it for my brother. We're doing the Jenga set and got 54 blocks. Sanding is taking forever as it always is, but I've been sanding, and then when I need to let the bench sander cool down, I just go and first blow all the sawdust off of stuff, and then just start organizing because my garage is a nightmare. yeah, so that's kind of been my weekend. When it has been warm enough, I've been out there, and when it's been too cold, I have been out there with the kerosene heater on. So that's that's what it's come to.
Have you tried screaming instructions at your stuff?
After a while, you start to wonder if it even works. Yeah. So that's that's my whole thing. I want to talk about video games, though. We kind of got a little bit of that with Cario Mark or Mario Kart, but we're
an interesting idea.
Yeah, let's talk about video games for once. Doing the regular kind of show, what with the grind, the multiplayer, and the unboss. And why don't we get started with the grind? The grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past period of time or so. I got a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
The Dead Space remake.
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Deader Space.
Space is dead again, they said. It can't be done, but now it is. It's Dead Space remake came out here recently, and it's gotten a lot of praise. And I am here to tell you that, yep, it's Dead Space again.
Do you stomp on lots of baddies?
You stomp on even stuff that might not be baddies, that even might just be a dead innocent person who maybe had $4 on them. So I wouldn't say I'm underwhelmed. I would just say that I am whelmed, which is this is
optimal whelming.
Just about as whelmed as one can be. So it's pretty. Which is, I think, the biggest thing to this.
And a very strange thing to say about Dead Space.
I mean, here's the thing.
I mean, I'm not going to judge, whatever you're into.
Yeah, no kink shaming. Yeah. So yeah. Basically, Dead Space is a very good game, was a very good game, and to a degree, my kind of skepticism, but just like my hesitation about the remake is kind of coming true, which is like how necessary is this when the actual bones of Dead Space are as functional as they are, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's, even though it was 15 years ago, that still feels like a very modern game, at least as far as third-person shooter, survival horror kind of stuff goes, right? It's advancing on the Resident Evil 4 formula. I think that the only thing that didn't stand up is the graphics. However, the graphics, the art design, the visuals and the monster design and stuff, all of that is still strong. And you can tell because they took a lot of it over to the remake when they, updated the appearance, the materials, the lighting, things like that, right? Like it's still, you can very much tell, hey, this is Dead Space again, because the bones are there. Good.
So it's not like a Resident Evil 2 style remake where it's like, remodernizing or whatever.
That's the thing. Now, there may be a trick that is being pulled here, and I know that there are probably people who are pulling their hair out. I would almost need to see like an itemized list of things that were definitely absolutely changed. There's some that you can tell, right? Like no longer are you going like from level to level just by using the tram. Like the ship is a little bit more connected than it was before. Primarily probably for technical reasons, holding more of the ship in memory, etc. Not needing to have like loading screen kind of things. That makes sense. The 0G is a little bit more streamlined. You're not doing like launching off kind of stuff. Like it's a little bit more fluid, a little bit kind of motion sicknessy for me a little bit.
See, I remember the 0G being something you had to do, not something you wanted to do.
Yeah. That still feels a little bit the same way. Like it's neat. It looks and feels real cool. But like even like the nice touches, especially when you're in a vacuum, like the thing that sticks out most is the sound is really muted. All you get is like low frequency stuff that would actually like be vibrating Isaac in his suit kind of stuff. You know, because like, oh, you're in a vacuum, you're not going to be getting sound through air because there's no air. That was all present in the original. Right. So yeah, I'm playing it and it sure is Dead Space and it's fun. I also don't find Dead Space very scary. That may just be me being broken as a person. I know that they're okay. Saying it less, I'm very accustomed. I've played the original. I know what tricks it's going to do. Like, it is a particular kind of event horizon, gory sci-fi. It's not, it can't really throw something at me that I don't expect. I also didn't find the original Dead Space like super too spooky to play, kind of thing. So I think that's carrying a lot of people with it as well. Maybe who they haven't played Dead Space since it first came out 15 years ago, things like that. It's just, this is neat and definitely the way to play it. I'm just having trouble like justifying and I don't know. I just, the version of Dead Space that I have in my head, this is matching.
Yeah. When I saw you stream this, and I had to go do like a side-by-side video to see like how updated the graphics were, just because it looked exactly how I remembered Dead Space, like the original one.
That's a good trick for that is a good trick for remakes to do, which is, oh, we're gonna show you this how you remember it, not how it actually was.
Yeah. When you see side by side, there are definitely updates, but at the same time, like it is kind of a compliment to how well done the original was. That their choices in like kind of like set design and stuff are so strong that it's kind of rises above the graphics. But
I mean, you could almost take this as an excuse to introduce new people to the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you miss the Dead Space train, here is a modern way to get into it. Just removing that one, concern that someone might be like, well, it's so old.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. Like, yeah, I think, again, I'm going off of my memory of the game, but I remember it being highly worth playing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's really good. It's too long. But I say that about a lot of things, and people disagree with me about it. Yeah, like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, I don't know. I think David kind of hit it on the head, which is like, I don't know. I think Resident Evil 2, the remake that came out in 2019, kind of deranged me a little bit as far as like what a remake ought to be. But that is a remake that came out 20 years and like substantial not just like graphical leaps, but also just like interaction model leaps, after the original, as opposed to this. We're still very much in a, the games still feel kind of like they did in 2008, of a certain kind of vintage. 2008 we had Dead Space. 2008 we had Assassin's Creed. Like a lot of these interaction models and just kind of like standards that we kind of expect, like, oh, this is what a video game feels like. We're still kind of in that, like, roughly in that era.
Hey, look, they've remade The Last of Us like 4 or 5 times already, so nothing is off the table.
I mean, I'd rather some things be off the table.
So I think what I wish we could get is kind of the aliens to Aliens is the alien. I wish we could get that for Dead Space. So I guess like Dead Spaces.
I mean, we kind of got that with Dead Space 2. Like, I am excited to see, because I don't know, it seems pretty clear the decision to remake Dead Space came with, all right, we can use this engine to remake Dead Space 2 as well. Like, just that it's easy. If this one sells, we can put in the time to have a whole other game and get a whole other kind of release cycle out of it. Dead Space 2 is kind of like that.
That's the thing I think is a little bit dangerous, is like, if this is a success, like, I don't want to telegraph to game companies like, yeah, be lazy and just make a remake of a game and it'll sell.
Yeah. Or, a remake of a game that, again, kind of doesn't need it. And I've kind of gone back. And so a combination of playing this and combination of kind of seeing some gameplay footage that is way too rainy. But I'm a little bit trepidatious about the Resident Evil 4 remake, actually. Capcom has shown that they can do the remakes well, like that. Just continuing along those. It's just like, I don't know, like, Resident Evil 2 and 3 are substantially different, in terms of like needing a remake, because man, if Dead Space still feels modern enough, Resident Evil 4 still feels modern enough because it kind of got the mold a little bit.
I mean, I think all Resident Evil 4 needs to do is have the ability to strafe.
Yeah, I mean that'll help, but also I don't know, it's kind of paced for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. People will probably scream of like, one of the big differences is the fact that in the original Dead Space, your main character Isaac is he's a mute. Is a silent protagonist and is kind of bossed around by people on the radio the whole time. You see his face in this, and he does speak. That I think is a good, it is an improvement, because like the story of Dead Space, aside from like the background matter about the cult and what the marker does and things like that, the actual like plot of Dead Space is, oh shit, another thing broke, go fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And then repeat for 16 hours, and then you're done. Having it so that Isaac gets to have agency as an engineer who was on this team for a reason, and like having your player character decide, all right, yeah, we need to go do this, as opposed to just being barked around, does ameliorate that feeling to a certain degree of just of what the actual story and plot is.
So I actually kind of liked him being mute, just because, like, in light of the big twist at the end, like I always took that to just be part of him being knucking futz. Like, just that he was this very overtly broken person that the other characters are only dealing with because they don't have a choice.
But he's not necessarily as broken in the first game. Like, you're very much right about the second one, but in the second one you see his face and he talks.
But I thought in the first one he's like hallucinating half the game.
I mean, he is being manipulated by the marker. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always took it just like that was PTSD. He literally couldn't speak.
Yeah, no, it's when the developer talked about it, they justified it like for Gordon Freeman reasons. We want you to be able to project yourself onto him.
That's never a good idea.
I am tired of silent protagonists. So
I like the horror aspect of, like, you are a person that's not going into this willingly knowing the risks, but someone who is kind of ordered to and doesn't feel like they can say no. Like, that aspect I think could be very helpful to the atmosphere and the horror. But yeah, you probably gain a lot more by having him be someone that you can actually relate to and see as a person.
I think the only silent protagonist I liked was Neo 2, where your character is explicitly mute, like medically mute.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is mute, is that the correct term?
I've not heard another one. I've never seen anybody correct. If that's insensitive, please forgive us. It's innocent ignorance, not hatefulness. Yeah. But yeah, it's
no, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, I could see that being interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you gotten far enough to get to any of the hyper sped up people?
No, not yet. Haven't gotten the ones that are that are all stasified. I did do the new section where basically they redid the asteroid shooting section, which is better, but also I don't know, kind of weird. So the previously the asteroid was like a turret section where you were aiming to shoot the asteroids, and it was like you had to lead the shots. In this, you're like out in the Death Star trench kind of thing, and you don't change the interface. You are syncing up with these cannons and targeting and firing at the asteroids to calibrate them, so that they will automatically shoot the debris out of the way. That is better. And yeah, no, I'm just gonna say it's better. It sounded like there was going to be a shoe that dropped on that, but no.
Yeah,
straight upgrade.
Yeah,
I think I'm probably a weirdo in that my biggest thing I think I would like to see them do is get rid of stasis.
Oh yeah.
Just because, like, I feel like the rest of the game was a relatively gritty, kind of pseudo-realistic sci-fi thing, but then you just have magical powers.
Yeah. I think it's interesting tactically, though. Would be
I
my, like it is the one way that they made the. It was 2008, so everybody was doing the big enemy charges at you, and so you've got to get out of the way and get behind him and fire at him. We're still doing that. I've got a term for it. I call it playing Toro. But like having the stasis so that you are using that to freeze that thing mid-charge so you can get behind it, as opposed to like luring it into scenery, is a good that is a good way, I think, to I don't know, the stasis power justifies itself in combat, just like the TK stuff does.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking more from like a story standpoint as opposed to game development. But yeah, no, I can see what you're saying.
Yep. Yeah, I can justify something that breaks the story if it makes for fun play. I've been talking about Dead Space for a long time. Any other thoughts or questions about that?
How far through the game are you?
I'm on like chapter 4 out of 12, 13, something like that.
Do you think you're gonna stream it to completion then?
I'm trying to decide.
Okay.
I've got a lot of people watching, so it might be an audience thing, but yeah, it is also something where it's a little tough. It's kind of tough to be super excited about going on, and I don't know if that's coming through or not.
Because it's like an experience that you've already had.
A weird challenge run.
Yeah, it's a. Yeah. No, I'm kind of too familiar with this. Gonna run. Yeah. Other thing I've been playing, Ben, I have been playing. I'm on, I believe, chapter 3 of The Case of the Golden Idol.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I've been basically treating it like a little daily present or treat that I give myself, which is I will play like one of the scenarios every day. Either like first thing when I get up or after I get a little bit of work done, Case of the Golden Idol. Ben, you talked about this in detail a few episodes ago. I mean, back in November, late November-ish. This is a detective game where you are kind of going into these frozen scenes, going around examining
Sometimes
everything.
they're burning scenes, by the way.
Oh, true. Yes, a lot of I just did one that had an explosion, which was fun. And there's the kind of the one that's used for the image the whole time with the guy who's on fire. But you are examining stuff, gathering clues, gathering names, and then going in and, in a fashion that is very similar to Return of the Obra Dinn, assembling the kind of names and nouns and verbs to answer very specific questions in like the thinking mode to accurately describe what it is that you have, what it is that happened here, right? And boy, it's really neat. I love this kind. Like, I don't know, how would you pitch this as a detective game where you have perfect information, like you can literally just click on somebody and see what's in their pockets. You don't have to like look for a key to get into a safe. You can just look into it. Like,
oh, so this is like a police state detective game,
kind of, except you're not really a character. You're just an observer. As far as I can tell, you are just an observer who is trying to discern this stuff. But like, it's got that Obra Dinn kind of appeal of like, okay, before I do anything, I need to figure out who in this scene is who, because everybody needs to be named and identified. And that is really going to help me determine the other stuff, because I don't know, I need to figure out who is sitting where around this dinner table to figure out who may have ingested the okay, like, yes, they were ingesting the poison, but like, okay, so they sat here, I know that answer, but this other person paid this other person, stuff like that. And so like, it's not like a Sherlock Holmes game, but it is real cool nonetheless. I don't know that I have more to say about it than what I have just described, other than I love the aesthetic. I love the like crazy esoteric nature of the stuff that you are trying to figure out. Like there is supernatural stuff going on. It is about something called the Golden Idol, you know, and yeah, trying to figure out the way that this stuff works and fits together is really satisfying. And yeah, it is something where I knew that I would sit down and chug this and maybe like not enjoy it as much. So I have had to dole it out kind of case by case, day by day.
Honestly, you should play this on stream, even though you could make an argument it's kind of horror themed in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know, the images I'm looking at seem very, very like Lovecraftian village kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's like a like 17th or not 17th, 18th and 19th century kind of stuff.
I mean, everything was basically horror back then.
Well, yeah,
true. It's wild that this has like one of the best narratives in any game from last year, and it's literally just 13 pictures that you're looking at for a game, you know?
Yep. Yeah. It's real cool.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question on the gameplay side of things.
Okay.
Actually, which is, how do you know, or what happens if you fill things in incorrectly?
Do you want me to answer? Or do you want to answer?
You go ahead and answer. I've been talking for a while.
So you can, like, when you're putting names, like you're dragging them into like open spaces for where there should be. So for example, if like there's two spaces next to one another, it's probably like a first and last name. If at any point you get everything right, the entire like window turns to green to show that everything that you have is perfect information. If you are one away at any point in time, a note will come up and says that you're close. And so and at this point, it's like you can kind of metagame it where it's like, okay, now I can go through and literally like drag everything out and figure out what's the wrong clue, and then I can just change out and figure out the right clue. So it's a little bit.
There's no penalty for brute forcing it
at that point, yeah. But if you're beyond like one away, like you have no feedback, so you don't know if you're 2 away or 5 away or anything like that. So while you could brute force it, that would take a lot of time. That's as fun as like brute forcing like a 1,000 lock-on mist or something like that.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and like this is the substance of the mysteries that you're solving makes it so you don't feel too bad if you end up getting the the yellow warning saying like, hey, you're close, because like, yeah, you could brute force it, but it does the cool thing in puzzle games or in mystery games, which is like you keep track of your assumptions. Like, okay, you're making a decision, there might be some stuff that you're like kind of unsure about, but like if your first presumption is wrong, then okay, well, I've got a backup one. Like, so it has to have been this. Like, at no point so far anyway have I felt like I've been like, well, I've just got to like bang two things together. Like, this is a standard moon logic 90s adventure game kind of thing. Instead, it has been it's been a matter of just like, okay, take pause, reconsider, like, were there any leaps of logic that I might have taken? It's really similar to Picross, actually. So
I would say it's a visual Picross, but Picross is already visual. So
I was trying real hard not to compare it to Picross, but it is very akin to Picross, because like, all right, okay, no, if this isn't right, then this other assumption must have been correct, and then stuff falls into place.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And they do a good job with scaling the difficulty, where it's like basically there's just more and more things you need to fill out per window as the game goes on. Yeah. And so then there's more and more facts in the environment that you have to like figure out. So this was a really well play tested game. I know he had like the person who made it had a Discord server where they had people like play test and give feedback and stuff like that. But it's definitely a very smooth gameplay, I think. As far as like it's well tested puzzles, so that there's not a lot of like impossible puzzles or not a lot of like roadblocks that you get in completely. So
is there any pixel hunting in terms of figuring out what's relevant, or is it all pretty straightforward, like what you can click on? Like one of the images I see is like a giant shelf of books, and I would be incensed if it was like, well, one of these books, if you hover over,
no, it's not like that.
Okay.
By default, anything you can interact with has like a little glowing dot on it. You can turn that off if you want the pixel hunting. I do not. If you are somebody who likes that, please report to the authorities because you're a fucking space Martian.
They also have a really nice feature. I think I talked about when I talked about it originally. But if you need a hint, it'll ask you to answer questions of information you should already know. Right. And if you get like 5 or 6 of those right, it'll give you a hint for the current scene that you're on, which I think is a really cool system because that just reinforces like the learning that you've done so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't used the hint system, but I'm happy to know that it's there and that it's not just here's the solution time.
Yeah.
Hints via the Socratic method.
Yes. Game owns. I will probably have it finished by next time we record, and I am digging it real hard.
I'll be very excited to hear how you like the game. Send me text updates if anything smacks you one way or another while you're playing it. But yeah,
no. I mean, so the case that I just solved was in a cabin. And this won't matter for anybody, but figuring out what the first symbol means, as regards, yeah. So you know what I mean with the first symbol, yeah. That was a real cool moment. It was extremely Myst-like, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So and you said the scene that you're on had an explosion.
Yes.
So right. You're on like maybe the 5th level or something then, right?
I mean, I just got to the it's the 3rd set of 3 cases out of the 4 sets.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the only other thing I've been playing other than that is more Farthest Frontier. I've kind of hit the content that is there for early access, so probably going to put it down for for them to get more stuff updated, but continues to be a good one. I don't know, that Frostpunk like city builder / survival thing is real cool. Although boy, once you start building big walls, it turns out the way to get more raiders to come after you is to build more is to build stronger walls around your place.
You're just incensed by that.
Yeah, it's like I just okay, when I had no defenses up, it was like 6 people or whatever, and then now they're sending like 25, 30. And I have to mobilize my entire military.
They're real protective of the right to roam laws. So.
Yeah. Well, what's real funny is they prioritize going for the building where the gold is stored. Problem is, there's a special building called a vault where you can store the gold, and it is much harder for them to get. So it's more time. The thing is, I do not have the ability currently to smelt my own metal. The vault requires iron. I need gold to buy the iron to build the vault.
Oh no.
But they keep stealing the gold I'm saving up to stop them from stealing my gold. Oh, my gold. So.
Your gold.
My gold. Who's got something new?
I guess I technically do. It's a mobile game, but it is new.
Okay.
I have been playing a little one-button game called Sping.
Sping? That's a made-up game.
It's a made-up word.
Yeah. I think I'm saying that right. So it's SPING, but the I is an exclamation point. And of course, I'm always in favor of bangs in titles. That seems like a wise choice. But the closest I can tell is that it's a portmanteau of spin and string.
Oh, one of those spinning strings that I see in Hollywood magazines. Yeah.
Yeah. And that those 2 words do accurately capture what you're doing in the game. So you've got a little bauble, and that can be anything. Like there's a ton of cosmetic unlockables in the game, and whenever you're close enough to an anchor point, that anchor will light up, and you tap and hold down to grappling hook onto the anchor point, and you will start spinning around it in a fixed circle. You don't have to be at the right like angle to latch on. You will always get to doing a circle. But then when you let go of your tap, the bobble lets go of the anchor point, and you fly off in whatever direction you were swinging towards. So it's got a real like Spider-Man vibe to it. And like that's as simple or as complicated, I should say, as the game needs to be. There's just a bunch of levels. Initially, you're just trying to get through, some architecture, and then there start being spikes on the architecture, and then there start being launchers and cannons and moving walkway type things and all this. So it gets more and more complicated. But you're trying to get from the start to the exit, collect all the little pips on your way. And it's just a real fun little, time waster, tap, one button game.
So if you hold on to a particular, grab point for too long, do you ever lose momentum, or do you just continue rotating at the same speed and you are just trying to release at the point where you are flying in the correct direction and attach at the point at the destination at the correct length, so you don't hit hit an obstacle when you do the next spin?
Yeah, you'll never run out of momentum.
Okay.
And so that's not a concern. The levels are designed to be tough enough in terms of just like precision in when you let go. That you don't need the momentum thrown in. There are a bunch of modes, like this game is on Apple Arcade. I got a free month of that. And there are a ton of extra modes beyond just like the regular, beat the level mode. So there's like one try modes and a Zen mode, and like it's a very like this game definitely lends itself to a flow state. But there's a lot of content in the game. So there might be a mode where like your momentum changes or something like that. I haven't seen it yet though.
No.
But really, the thing that surprised me about this game was how good the haptic feedback is. And for a game you're playing on your phone, that's a little feature that's built in that normally I never think about. But man, it is very additive. So whenever you latch on to or let go of a grapple point, you just get a little, a little pip to let you know that you did a thing. And then there are these like moving walkways that I mentioned. It's like, a surface might have this moving walkway on it, and you'll kind of stick to it and just get flung in whatever direction along it. And that just gives this like constant low rumble while you're on it. But this is the first mobile game I've played where I'm like, man, I really like the way that they're using the rumble feature. Do we still call that rumble? The buzz, the silent mode?
I will never not call it rumble, but I think that at a certain point somebody's going to say, "Okay, Grandpa."
Yeah.
I thought rumble was like explicitly copyrighted or something, or patented or something.
Oh, that patent has to have run out. Also, I don't care about IP law.
Come after
patents
me.
Run out? I that doesn't sound like America.
Eventually patents run out, but also that would be a trademark maybe, but also Nintendo hasn't actually. What was it Nintendo that had that? I need to look up the history of the
Rumble
term
Pack.
The Rumble Pack. Yep. But yeah, so that it's a game that literally feels good to play. And that's fun. The level design has a lot of kind of gotcha moments in it. But fortunately, the levels are all short enough, and it's kind of designed around quick replayability that I've never felt too thrown under the bus. So it'll be like, hey, this is gonna launch you in a direction. You got to quickly grab a grapple point to swing up and over something, and then that'll swing you to another launcher that you have to grab a grapple point and go up and over something, and then the third one it's up and into spikes. It's like, oh wait, no, I need to go down on this one. Got it. And that's been, like I said, it's the levels are short enough that it's amusing when it happens, not frustrating.
Yeah.
But they have several different variations of that in the game.
I'm downloading this game right now. It sounds very good. And
yeah,
not just
like
because it's a grappling hook game.
Yeah, well, we know that grappling hooks make everything better, and this game is 90% grappling hook.
Of course, by volume.
By volume. Yes, that's almost all of your daily recommended dosage of grappling.
Oh, it exceeds it. It's highly dangerous.
So yeah, I've been wasting time on that on my phone. Like I said, I've got Apple Arcade for a bit longer. So if anyone's got other things I should check out, I'm open to it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's Sping, which, and I don't know, that name just feels like I'm saying a slur. I don't know what. Like, it's a completely fine name. It's completely fine.
I think it's in the tone or in the enunciation. And as long as you don't hit the hard G, you're good.
You know what? It's all caps on the app.
Yes.
And I think that just implies a level of aggression that I'm not okay with.
It's also it's also got an exclamation mark in the middle, which does look like it's Qbert censoring, like just throwing in a bunch of punctuation marks. Yeah,
totally. Trigger warning, Sping. Yes, so that's Sping. Otherwise, the only new thing I've been playing is finishing the Modern Warfare 2 campaign, which, in line with last week, the stealth sections are really, really bad, and everything else is really, really good. So I just need less stealth sections and more, balls out action. It's not literally balls out action, but it is pretty great. Favorite highlight. Oh, go ahead.
Are the stealth sections like the ones where you're like sniping people and you're trying to hide from people when they come look for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like literally the stealth section is like hold still for probably a full minute while people walk past you in a ghillie suit. It's like you are literally having me not play the game right now. I don't.
So what if you just shoot your way out?
You can, and there is a surprising amount of accommodation for that sort of thing. I think I'd probably have to be playing on a lower difficulty to successfully shoot my way out. And the only time I've seen like a you can't do that start over screen is if you kill a civilian.
Yeah.
Or a teammate. That will hard restart you. Otherwise, if I've gone loud, it's always kind of allowed me to do that and get myself shot. And not hard restarted me because I tripped it. So at least it's got that going for it. But man, where this game shines, like I'll call out two highlight levels. The first one, you are raiding a cargo ship, and there's a ton of giant cargo containers loose on the deck as the ship rocks back and forth. And so it's all like sliding around, knocking into each other in a very like not scripted way. Like I think it's actually governed by physics and waves and everything going on. And that just felt really cool, and it gave you that much more to think about in your surroundings as you're charging around the ship.
That feels like a weird echo of Charlie Don't Surf, actually.
Huh?
The first mission of Modern Warfare 1, Call of Duty 4, which like the big thing was that was one of the first. I don't know. You never want to say it's the first because somebody can say, but like the cool thing about that was you were not on a fixed geometry for your level. The actual level was a ship that was currently sinking that was like rocking around beneath you. Am I correct on that, Ben? Is that what that is?
I do not remember that one. Modern Warfare 2 is like my main entry point to the series.
Gotcha. I just it sounds. I'm not saying like, oh, they did it before, because obviously this has a different thing, but a ship as a physics level is a tradition.
Yeah, well, and like Uncharted has done it and stuff. And this is literally a remake, reboot, something like that. So like it would not be surprising if there were callbacks. But yeah, that was really fun. And then they had a convoy level, and these have been done a lot, right? Like Uncharted in particular, I'm gonna relate to that because it's that level of cinematic. Like it does feel like you're playing an action movie. But the convoy levels have always felt kind of on rails. Uncharted,
aren't they literally?
Well, if you're on a train, yes. But this one, like you're driving the vehicle, and then you can lean out to shoot, and kind of have that chaotic, like, okay, I gotta drive, and I'm also aiming to shoot, and like don't want to be looking the wrong way for too long. But you could also totally crash your vehicle, wind up just on foot on the road, and have to like commandeer another vehicle. And it was all just very fluid and well done. And I was in the back of a truck, and then I was driving a smaller car, and then I was hijacked a big truck that I was driving, and you're going through all these different weapons, etc. Like that just felt really well done on a scale.
with the big list of like different things I was this, I just wanted to say, and then I was a dog for a little bit, and then I was on the back of another truck. Sorry.
So this being Call of Duty, I'm sure they explore the fact that you just like stole some family's car.
It was a bad guy's car. Again, can't hurt civilians.
Yeah, it's like an army convoy, so it's like a lot of Humvees you're jumping from, and you can Teen Wolf on them from Humvee to Humvee.
Yeah, but done in a way where in other convoy sequences that I've played, you miss the jump. That's very clear. They want you to go from here to here, and the level restarts. Yeah. In this one, as long as you're not going so fast that you're going to kill yourself on impact, falling out, you're like, oh, well, that didn't work. What do I do next? And figure it out. So that was well done. So credit to that game. Stealth sections need to not be there, but everything else was fun.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that one. Like, you can tell that they made a new feature where it's like the feature of people walking by and being able to sense you or whatever, and it's like, yeah, we got to put this in like 4 or 5 places to get value on this feature that we made in the game, and they do that, and they probably shouldn't have.
What they didn't realize is that the real value came from using that feature in DMZ.
Yeah, hide there, not here, not in the campaign. Yeah, so that was fun. It's also like, it didn't wear out its welcome. I finished it without too much time invested, so I feel like it was worth it on the whole. I started into some of the traditional multiplayer, so just team deathmatch or point control on bespoke maps, not this giant map stuff that I'm doing in DMZ and Warzone. And man, this game, I'd forgotten how twitchy it is. Like as fast as time to kill is in Warzone and DMZ, you don't have armor in the team deathmatch modes, and so it's that much faster. Like you blink and you're dead. And so that is very fun and intense, and I'm kind of getting into that. It's really interesting though that like the quick play playlist that they've got, which is the main way to play the game. Like there's a couple like called out modes, and then as far as I know, the only way to get into a game is to sign up for quick play, which has like 9 different modes in it that you get shuffled through. And there's really good variety there. So I mentioned, there's point control, there's straight team deathmatch, there's like Counter-Strike style bomb defusal, King of the Hill, like all this crazy stuff. And I've enjoyed what I've played so far, but aside from saying I've started into it, I don't have too much to talk about. I have probably spent as much time figuring out what I want my loadouts to be as I have playing the game. So that's fun. Just contemplating, do I want an RPG here or a sniper rifle? Like it's the ultimate gamer shopping.
Nice.
And that's me.
Cool. Who wants to go next? David, how about you?
This one's going to sort of be a downer. The only thing I've got is I gave Sea of Thieves another try.
You would okay, so you played it in the past?
I've played it just a little bit in the past.
Okay.
So basically this is pirate the game. So you're going around sailing on ships from island to island, fighting skeletons and sea monsters and such, following maps to treasure, all that sort of generic pirate stuff. And it's actually really well done. It's kind of fun having an open world where you can just, sail in a random direction, land on an island, and, you'll find interesting things there. In particular, a lot of the missions take the form of riddles where you'll have to, figure out, some landmark on an island that the riddle is referring to.
Okay.
So these are all bespoke. It's not procedurally generated.
I think each island has a whole bunch of landmarks on them. and then it's the riddles are procedurally generated based on them. And then, once you get to the thing, you have to, pull out your compass. And, the last thing is always, then it's, 5 paces north by northwest or that sort of thing. And then you have to, dig up the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, you can actually even, there's a system where once you find treasure, you can actually bury it on any of the islands. You'll get a map, and then you can post the map for other players to solve, and when they solve it, you get a reward.
That sounds
That's
sweet.
the opposite of how it usually works.
Yeah. I mean, you are the world's worst pirate.
I never understood why pirates buried treasure.
Is your reward greater than the treasure itself?
That's the thing.
So the thing about this is all of this is in service of building up, faction ranks and completing achievements in order to unlock new cosmetics. So, all of your different clothing, different looking swords, different compasses, pretty much everything you can think of there's different cosmetics for. So a lot of it, I think, is actually just doing a thing because there's a reward for, like, I don't know, sharing 500 maps or something. And the way this works, that's kind of funny, is for the most part, every so often you'll actually just find, gold coins, but mostly you're finding, like, chests or, some sort of artifact or something like that, and you have to take it back and turn it in. And this gets to where I was saying this is kind of a downer. For some reason, they decided what the game really needed was non-optional PvP.
Really?
So, at any point, someone can, just come in and kill you and, take your stuff. I personally am not a fan of this stuff in any game. And I'm told my views on such thing are incendiary and controversial. So that's all I'll say on that. I don't think it adds to any game.
Okay.
But especially here, the PvP almost exclusively happens at the end of whatever you're doing. So it's very much a thing where, I basically uninstalled the game after I spent like an hour and a half on a single boss fight. And then once I was done, someone just came up and killed me and took the reward.
Oh, man. That's rough.
The other problem is the combat is very, very clunky. It's like, it's
hand to hand or ship to ship?
Well, I'm not super convinced on either of them, but particularly hand to hand.
Okay.
I would say it's like survival horror like melee system where it's basically just like, keep clicking until they're dead, and theoretically you have a block function, but you're never going to use it. And so it's also a thing where, and then you also have a gun, and the gun takes away approximately 2/3 of your health. So basically that creates a situation where being the person that initiates combat gives an almost insurmountable advantage, and the combat is too clunky for there to really be any skill where, like, you could still win. And what makes things even dumber is the game actually has really good PvP, like actual PvP systems in it. Like, one of the things you can choose to do is, sign up with one of 2 factions, and then you then show up on the map for the other team, and they're rewarded for, killing you. So it's like, why wouldn't you just make PvP be in the bespoke PvP mode you went to the trouble of making? So yeah, so that's the thing. It's a really cool game. Great aesthetics, excellent character models and designs. Everyone has just the perfect amount of like pirate ugliness.
You look like you could be a pirate.
Yeah. It's has that sort of look. So I mean, there's a lot of really cool things they do, but it's just killed by the inclusion of non-optional PvP.
So compare and contrast with DMZ, which has non-optional PvP.
But it's a battle royale game.
Yeah, well, that's Warzone. Warzone is battle royale. What you call it? DMZ is objective based.
Yeah, I maintain DMZ would also be better without PvP. However, at least in that, there's a skill element to it, and you still get rewards even if you don't extract.
Okay, fair enough. So there's not like XP that you keep from a mission after you die or anything like that.
There's some very, very basic XP. I think you still get XP towards the battle pass, but you don't actually get any money, which is basically what you're going after.
Rough.
So yeah. I mean, I am anti-PvP in your PvE in general, but this is especially egregious example of it.
Fair enough.
Yep. So, and that's all I have. We are in the video game dead zone. So if anyone has any suggestions, I'm definitely open because I'm bored as hell. But
Disco Elysium, baby.
Play Pentiment.
What was that?
Pentiment or Curse of the Golden Idol. Those are two really good games from the end of last year.
See, but I don't want to think in my games. Like, I play games to not think about how awful capitalism is.
I mean, you could try not doing that.
I was gonna say, I don't think either of those games do tell you that. So I mean, unless you're thinking that on your own, I don't know.
I think he's talking specifically about Disco Elysium.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, actually, Disco Elysium is on my short list. I really need to pick that up.
Yeah. And it's not just about how awful capitalism is. It's
that and more.
Yeah.
Also about how awful fascism is.
Well, it's a heartbreaking murder mystery. Yeah.
It's about how great ties are.
I mean, that one specific tie. And
hey, don't spoil it.
And Ben, you were busy this week, so that's a segment.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where usually we ask you a question and then you answer it. But this time we're doing a free play, which means you ask us questions and then we answer it. So I'll get us started here with Callum, who writes, what is your current favorite video game soundtrack?
Oh, for me, Neon White, hands down.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's just good vibes the second you open that game up on through.
Nice. It's gonna sound like I'm doing like really basic answers on this one, but there are Final Fantasy remix. It's not just Final Fantasy, but it's like Square has been doing like these weird remix albums where it's tracks from a bunch of their games but done in like particular styles. The one that came out a few years ago was called Chocobo and Chill, but they've had a few which are like lo-fi, like lo-fi beats versions of these songs, nice. Lo-fi Final Fantasy. And I just I've been real basic listening to those remixes, but they are very well done and hew to the style very well. Ben, how about you?
I think the Returnal soundtrack is the one that I was most recently really into, so I would say that one.
Yes. David?
I'm not sure I've got anything that's real like recent, like this is my current jam. In general, I really like the soundtrack for the Castlevania games.
Oh yeah, Castlevania music is always a bop. Yeah. Peter asks us a few, and I may come back if this ends up being a very short segment, but also I'm motivated to make to go to bed. So we'll see. Peter asks, when playing games, video slash tabletop slash any choice, what is each of yours favorite beverage of choice to quote stay hydrated? The quotes there feel ominous.
Yeah.
I you know what I'm gonna say, nothing refreshes like a nice glass of ice water.
Fair. You are really going after that basic theme this week.
Yeah. No, I just trying to minimize. it's an age thing, right? Trying to minimize the amount of other stuff that I drink. Water's fine, so yeah, I tend not to get too fancy with it.
Can I go slightly less basic, but not very much?
Oh, bubble water?
Yeah, okay, but more or less basic than that.
Okay.
No, I don't think that's a basic answer. That is an excellent choice and incredibly refreshing. I've gotten into Athletic Brewing Co. And it's non-alcoholic beers that are like really tasty craft beers. So specifically Free Wave, which is their hazy IPA, is delicious.
Nice.
And that is my go-to. So the game nights that I would typically stumble home from, I'm getting all the same experience and can walk home with a clear head.
But I'm led to believe that nobody likes the way beer tastes.
I mean,
as someone who's been brainwashed into liking beer, this is an excellent alternative.
There's no way you could genuinely like that thing you like. Yeah.
I think for me it's mead.
Okay.
One of my good friends down here makes a bunch of it. So and then there's also a really cool meadery in town.
Nice.
So that's, and when I'm, especially if I'm doing like pen and paper gaming, that requires interacting with other human beings, which requires me to be drunk. So
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I'm hoping in time for game sessions starting up again where it gets warm is my friend got a whole bunch of candy canes and is working on a candy cane mead.
I don't know how those flavors would go together.
Peppermint honey.
Yeah.
Well, it's something like there's no honey in it. Like, so I guess maybe technically it's not mead, but it's basically just you can do the conversion of like how much sugar is in honey and then how much sugar is in candy. The only thing you have to look out for is the candy can't have any preservatives that would kill the yeast.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So the candy cane's the sugar then?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's probably unfair to hold this against all mead, but the one time I have had mead, it was homemade from a friend that I had from the radio station in college, who made his own mead, and he gave me a bottle of it. It's like, oh yeah, and have this, pour it, let it settle, all of that. But it had like some fruit flies in it,
Oh no.
And I just I was not able to.
Is that like the worm?
I mean, David, you're the expert. Is that supposed to be there?
Sure, go for it. No, I don't think that's supposed to be there.
Yeah. So that put me off. At least it was floating at the top. So
fish it out of there.
No.
What's worse than finding half a fruit fly? I bet. Never mind. I'll go back to the 1930s and work on that joke.
Yep. It'll only take another 80 or 90 years. Ben, how about you?
I think just carbonated water if I'm playing a game. Something too crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I think my heavy drinking days are over, which is good.
See, for me, the older I get, the more I need to drink.
We'll talk about that after the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, the world's not getting any better.
True. But my body's not getting any better either. And boy,
it's a real race.
Yeah. And just physically, it is rough. And why would I alter my mind with with alcohol when there's weed right there?
See, and that is the difference. There is not weed right here.
Yes. Yeah. Let's hear. Jeremy says, or asks us, what is the game that everybody wanted you to try and you were sure that you were going to hate it, but actually when you gave it a chance, it became one of your favorite games?
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls?
Yeah. That is fair.
I mean, like happens with a lot of people, Dark Souls didn't take it first for you, and it had a latency period, and then you came back to it roaring hard.
When I understood how to play the game, I was much more charitable towards it. Yeah.
Man, I don't know about this.
I'll say Deep Rock Galactic for me.
Oh,
because I played it way back, like when it was in early access, and I came to it right as everyone else was finished with it, and so I played 1 or 2 rounds just solo or with random fills that I just didn't get it. Walked away. I was like, nah, not for me. And then got cajoled into trying it again because it was free on Game Pass, and like my buddies on Game Pass needed something to play together. And I was like, all right, I'll do it again. And that game rocks now. Pun intended.
Similar to that, I thought, based on the pitch, that Among Us was not going to be very fun, but the times that I have spent with it are good. And like, I don't know, even stuff that was similar to it. Like I had a really good time playing that Deceit game with y'all on Duckstream last year.
Yeah.
See, Among Us is like if you made a game purpose made for like triggering my anxiety.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, turns out that social anxiety has problems with social games.
Yeah, carries through there. Yeah, I can see that. It's fun to act.
I mean, they're great games. I'm not at all like they're excellent games. It's just like, man,
it's fun to act, and it's fun to play dynamics off of social dynamics off of folks.
It's like spiders for my feelings.
I have no idea what that meant, but I liked it.
For arachnophobia.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And wait, no, you already said yours, Dennis. David, how about you?
Man, I feel bad about this one because I feel like this is the most David scenario of like experiencing games there ever is, but I'm having trouble thinking of one. I think best I can think of is maybe Elite Dangerous.
Okay.
Because was never into any of the like driving or flying or any of that sort of thing. But when I tried that, I really enjoyed it. I liked kind of the pseudo hard sci-fi world of it. How many options there were, and it was just kind of chill.
Nice. Brian asks, I feel like this is mostly a question for Kole, but I've been on a big weird fiction / horror kick lately. What would you want in your ideal weird fiction game? I've already pitched this, but the King in Yellow game that is based off of the tabletop Gumshoe kind of world, but it's a city manager, and you are trying to like manage the city while also dealing with incursions as Carcosa starts to overlap it. So you're trying to do stuff, but then just all of a sudden this whole district, weird shit starts happening, and you have like like little Frostpunk, almost like little choose your own adventure events to go and address it.
Yeah, I was talking with a friend recently. I really think one of the underappreciated things about the King in Yellow is that unlike most of the Lovecraft stuff, it's not really monster based.
Mm-hmm.
The bad things are mostly conceptual. I mean, I guess Haster, is a creature or whatever, but he really doesn't even show up that much.
Yeah, it's almost entirely through Avatar, through avatars and through cultists and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just more so than in, you know, Lovecraftian kind of things, stuff related to Haster, King in Yellow, you know, that kind of stuff. It's more about like battles for souls, which makes it sound biblical in a way that is uncool, but actually it is super cool because it is about people kind of being drawn into it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think my pitch for these games were, I would like to see one that was set, you know, after the stars were right, and you know, the deep ones and the, you know, all these things returned, and you know, just that we found out that turns out Lovecraft was like super racist and depressed, and you know, humanity kind of just adapted.
Oh yeah.
And I think it would be really interesting, in particular, to explore like how would you deal with having races in society that had just dramatically different understandings of cultural taboos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know, Wendigo people, where you know, eating the dead was considered like no different than recycling.
Oh yeah.
You know, things like that. Like, I think it'd be really interesting to explore like how much of morality is more based on what creeps humans out as opposed to being objectively good or evil.
Yeah. I dig that. Like weirdly, you mentioning that makes me kind of identify. You know, a game does that actually pretty well. Oh gosh, Torment: Tides of Numenera.
Really?
Actually,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
And
on my list. I'm gonna have to try that.
it's kind of uneven. You may end up enjoying it. I liked it as like an entry into the setting, but like it's really neat. It is very specifically like in a new weird kind of thing where it is mixing up a bunch of like time period kind of things. Like it is sci-fi and fantasy at the same time kind of stuff.
Sure.
But there are, you know, very distinct horror like short story kind of things going on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Either Dennis or Ben, do you have anything in this that you'd like to see?
Kind of following your answers, just well done Lovecraft. I would love to see, like, or like a Lovecraft game that just doesn't fall apart halfway through.
Yeah,
Would be awesome.
Isn't falling apart halfway through kind of the point, though?
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess
the characters, not the gameplay.
the narrative needs to fall apart in the right way and not the way that it typically does.
Yeah, typically falls into, you know, just like bad mechanics. Even like I don't, you know,
Bad mechanics, dropping the N-word.
All that stuff.
Maybe we can make a meta narrative game where it's like you can't get a good Lovecraft thing because all the writers of it go mad and write, you know, subpar work.
Isn't that House of Leaves? No.
Yeah, sometime check out Cultist Simulator, as a side note. But so this is just completely off topic, but I've heard, I'm going in, you know, would be going into it completely blind. I've heard some suggestion that I think Nope is a movie and that is maybe has some Lovecraftian stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a thing? Okay. Is it good?
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, my boys Benson and Moorhead also doing very good Lovecraft stuff.
Okay.
Lovecraftian stuff. Something in the Dirt, baby. It's on Hulu now.
One I'm excited for is I think next month maybe Old Gods of Appalachia is publishing a pen and paper game.
I don't know what they are.
Really great great podcast that is kind of a sort of, you know, Lovecraftian mixed up with kind of the, you know, Appalachian you know, myth and cryptids and kind of that sort of thing.
But yeah. I will do this last one here. Steven says, I've tried so many times to get into city builder sim games, but I'm always overwhelmed at the start, not knowing where I want to take it. Any recommendations to try? Any game recommendations to try, and any tips and tricks to overcome it? I would say play Frostpunk on easy. It is a more directed experience and the stakes are a little bit lower. Also, do not let yourself be tricked into believing that you need to have a perfect run the first time. This is Gary makes fun of me for using this metaphor, but like when you're making pancakes or making waffles, generally you have to throw the first one out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gonna ruin a bunch of societies before you get one that kind of clicks. Don't be afraid to restart with the knowledge that you have, because you're going to learn through trial and error how the things fit together and what the systems are.
Yeah, 100%.
And always institute child pit fighting, organ farming. That's one of the options, right?
Organ farming, yeah.
Not all at once.
Yeah.
The old acronym AICPFOF.
Yes.
One approach that helps me whenever I feel like overwhelmed with the number of different approaches, I guess, to a game, is to think about it almost like a playtester. Like, all right, this seems like a way I could play. I'm just going to lean into that hardcore until it either fails me or something breaks and forces me to do something else. So like, pick a system within the systems, or, a resource to min-max or what have you, and just run down that road to see where it goes. Because doing that will then illuminate the systems in a way that you wouldn't get just by staring at it and thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I even do this like in Modern Warfare. I was overwhelmed by the loadouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm just going to go hyper short range. I'm going to get a shotgun and a hyper rapid firing SMG. I'm going to get area denial, tear gas grenades and all this stuff, and like leaned into that. And it's like very quickly saw, okay, tight maps, this works very well. Long maps, I need to change it up. But it gave me a starting point.
Yeah.
Is grand strategy, that's like completely different then? That's not considered under city builder?
It just kind of depends.
It could be.
It
depends on how long it takes.
Yeah.
It's like a week-long city builder, it's grand strategy.
Yes. Yeah. It depends, because like grand strategy could also be something like what is it, Crusader Kings or Victoria, but like those, the things that those are simulating are oftentimes like, it for me, like those scratch a similar itch, but then you get into stuff that is very explicitly like a 4X kind of thing, and that also is grand strategy, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, if it counts, or for whatever definition of counts, like Crusader Kings seems like one where you can very much just kind of like do whatever and do whatever shenanigans you want, and it'll kind of turn that into a story.
Yeah, I mean, Crusader Kings 3 has very good tutorialization. It's also a real deep end to jump into at the start.
Yeah, I was going to say that is a game I'm overwhelmed by.
Yes.
See, I'm a king. I don't care about my subjects, and so like it doesn't matter how deep it is.
Oh,
like
that is very much a game where people will kill you.
But then but you are also playing as some sort of like Haster-esque like mind virus that just jumps to the next kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you have one, Bud?
I'm going to make a lateral suggestion and say play the board game Gaia Project or Tapestry. And that you get the experience of like a city builder sort of thing, but you're playing it with other people, so you'll know the rules. You can just do what they do if you don't know what to do. So
nice. Thank you, everybody, for writing in with your questions. If you would like to participate in these in the future, go to Facebook and search for Duckfeed Community, and you will see the group. Join that and watch for the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons. Thank you, Dennis, for posting this.
Mm-hmm.
The end, boss.
Now it is time for the End Boss, where we talk about things that are going on in the world of video games around us. Ben, since ours are related, I would like to throw to you. What happened at the Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, so this was just a week ago. They announced that they're releasing a Metroid Prime remake, and they already released it. So this was like a surprise. Here's a sweet game. And then on Metacritic, it's already like at a 94. So apparently, it not only was a surprise, but it's really awesome. So,
are you a fan of Metroid Prime?
I played this one, but I did not complete it because this was the one for the GameCube. Is that right?
Yeah, it was the first person one.
Yeah, so I started it but never finished it. So I guess I'm not a true fan, but this makes me want to go back and play it though.
Oh yeah, I mean, now that it's there.
Am I correct? Like the Metroid Prime games, my understanding is they're kind of controversial among Metroid fans.
I mean,
this was the first 3D one, correct?
Yeah, but like there are probably purists, but I've never heard I've heard very little other than like absolute praise for Metroid Prime, which actually gets under my skin a bit because I don't see what the big deal is. but go back. It's still one of our most controversial Watch Out for Fireballs episodes, actually. Ooh. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how controversial they are. I think that people generally are like down, but also like Metroid is a series that has probably had maybe 2.5 really good entries in it, and the other ones are qualified successes to a certain degree. So
how many of those entries are Smash Bros?
I'm not counting those as the entries.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. And even that number, that's kind of a joke number, but also like it's kind of a Mega Man ratio of like good to kind of that's a Metroid game kind of stuff.
I mean, for Mega Man, there's Battle Network and Adventures, and we're done.
And Smash Bros.
Oh yeah, he is in Smash Brothers, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, they're taking the Hi-Fi Rush model by just dropping this. Yeah, getting people real excited, thinking they were going to get Metroid 4 stuff, but nope, or Metroid Prime 4 details, but no. Another thing that they surprise dropped at this Nintendo Direct. I like this because this is not a thing is going to happen. This is a thing happened. Both of the things we're talking about. They updated the Switch Online library and added for the base tier. They added they added Game Boy emulation to that, which includes Game Boy Color. And then on the expansion pack, like the one you pay extra for, you get the Game Boy Advance games on here as well. And there's some neat stuff in here, and there is some really baffling stuff. So like there are ones that make sense, like it's real cool to see Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. That game rules. Gargoyle's Quest is a very good game. But then you also get Alone in the Dark, the New Nightmare for the Game Boy Color, which like, I'm sorry, what? And then for the Game Boy Advance ones, you get like really cool stuff. You get you get WarioWare. You get the Mario Kart game for the for that, Mario and Luigi. And then of all the Zelda games they could have pulled over, they gave us the Minish Cap. So hooray. It would have been cool if they did the Oracle games, but I guess the Minish Cap is better than nothing.
They need something for the next Direct.
The Oracle games weren't technically advanced, right? Weren't they?
Yeah, it's not GBA. Those were Game Boy Color. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'm excited about this. They're good games on those systems, and people having a good way to play the WarioWare for the Game Boy Advance that's neat. Yeah. Let's see. So that was Nintendo Direct news. David, what's happening with The Division?
Oh no, I've actually got another one. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I posted this one earlier. So in response to the whole Hogwarts thing, a group of developers over on Itch.io.
I'm really happy that you say Itch.io because I also say Itch.io.
I mean, how else would you say it?
That is specifically that is specifically a pronunciation that I've heard on that I first heard on Idle Thumbs, and nice. I cannot say it as anything other than Itch.io.
Yep. But a group of developers of various computer games and pen paper games have released the Trans Witches Are Witches pack and have raised over 100K.
Specifically, right now, as of recording, they're at $128,133.10, which is fucking wild. And it's about to be $60 more because this is my reminder to buy this.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Actually, if you turn that number upside down, it spells out trans rights.
Ooh. Well, I'm ruining it now. You're saying I'm ruining it. No. Okay.
Actually, if you buy it, then it will say our human rights.
Oh, okay. So just the other 60 that I put in, then it goes. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Really funny how that works out. Yeah.
Yeah. Or canny, the way they put that.
Mm-hmm. You're whelmed. It's canny.
It's whelmed, canny.
It's that kind of week.
Yeah. No, but like 69 games, and a lot of them have to do with trans subject matter, and also are about queer subject matter, and are about magic and shit.
Yep.
Can I call out my favorite one on this list?
Yes.
So far, as I kind of have just scrolled through, it's a game called Muscle Wizard. It's like a journaling game, so it's a physical little thing where you wake up, you start your day, and then you roll to figure out what today's problem is. And it's everything. I'll read off a few that I see. One could be cyber demons.
Mm-hmm.
The other could be your refrigerator is running literally. The god of fire has been extinguished. Or this one just says it's game day, baby. So you talk about how you solve the problem until you go either full wizard or full muscle, and at that point you go to bed.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a horror game in here. I want to look for one to stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, like we said, this year is the year of the muscle wizard.
We did say it's the year of the buff wizard who may or may not be a who may or may not also be a frog person.
Oh, hold on, when was this? This was published May 20th, 2021, so they had you just slightly.
Wait, was it? It was the bundle was? Oh no, that game. The game.
Yeah. Muscle Wizard.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, they probably updated it since then, so I still counts. I welcome them into the movement.
I mean, to be fair, the wizards, so they know the future.
True. Yeah. So they knew it was going to be the year of the buff wizard who may or may not be a frog person, well ahead of time. Oh man. And finally, Dennis, what battle is FromSoft? What battle is FromSoft deciding to fight in vain?
Yeah, so when they announced Armored Core, was it 6? Armored Core 6?
Yeah.
People were worried that they were going to Dark Soulsify Armored Core, and that it would, with the success of Elden Ring and everything Soulsborne, that Armored Core would get that treatment and lose some of its unique flavor. They came out and assured fans that no, it's not going to be a Souls-like game. And fans made the natural conclusion, because there's only two types of games. There are Souls-like games and there are sexy games.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've been tagging Armored Core 6 as a sexy or cute game or a dating sim on Steam.
Yeah.
These tags are going up and being taken down with increasing rapidity, leaving people confused. Is this Dark Souls or is this sexy?
Porque no los dos.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Robots are sexy, just saying.
Yeah, there's Nier Automata, so...
Yeah, that's... What is the sexiest Souls game?
Bloodborne.
I mean, like, there are definitely ones that are like real anime. Like, aren't there anime titty ladies in Code Vein?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like actual From games. I mean, it's still Bloodborne, but
Code Vein is hands down the winner from all developers. For FromSoft, maybe Bloodborne. I don't know.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So I wish them luck, but also I'm not really invested in this. Steam tags are worse than useless. is my opinion. So I say we let them crash.
I've said this before, but I really miss the old Steam tags when it was just a no man's land. Like, I remember for a while there was a Steam tag that was just Nano Machine Sun. That was just all the Steam games that involved nano machines. For a while, the I don't think there was actually a Soulsborne tag. People just tagged them with "Get good or die trying."
I don't like that. I don't like it. I'm happy that Get Good seems to have fallen out of favor.
Yeah.
I only see it memed.
Yeah, exactly. It's all right if it's meme, not if it's being serious.
Yeah. Well, how do you all feel about buttoning it up?
Let us button.
Sexy
button.
The credits.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to level number 447. We appreciate you taking the time. If you would like to help us, you can go and join the Duckfeed community, participate in the multiplayer, leave ratings or reviews. All of those are things that are welcome. I do not want to extend this too much further because I'm a very sleepy boy. But is there anything I'm forgetting?
Get your rest. 8 hours a night, people.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I've been Kole Ross. You can find me on Mastodon at Kole Ross at mastodon.social.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can find me in the Deck of Wonders Discord.
I'm David Maismith.
And I've been Ben Merkel. Oh, whoops.
And stick around for some titles.
We are fusing David and Ben together.
I have one that I really like. I need to actually get the wording of it. Spiders for my feelings.
Yep.
You have that as well?
I didn't have that, but I support it.
Okay.
I didn't have anything.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I think I am legally asleep right now.
Yeah. Ben, you have anything?
I also just had It's Like Spiders for My Feelings.
All right. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I got 3. None of them are spiders for my feelings.
Oh.
I have Whelmed. I have More Less Basic.
More or less. Is there a slash there, or is it?
No, I was trying to be more less basic.
Okay. Yes.
That just reminds me of an academic challenge. There's always the gotcha, like there can not be different degrees of uniqueness.
Yes.
It's like there cannot be different degrees of basicness.
Yep.
I mean, chemistry would dispute that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then final one is that supposed to be there? Of the fruit flies.
I mean, that could be like the title for this, year.
Yeah. Cool.
I like Spiders for My Feelings.
Spiders for My Feelings works.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, hope everybody has a good week. Oh, wait, no. It is decided.